of the state survive without oil?
Certainly, yes. Taking to what's happening, the volatility of the oil prices today in the international market, you know that depending solely on oil may not help the state. And so there's a need for the state to look inwards in terms of other areas where the state can survive. And so, take for example, we're talking about the potentials in River State. What is one of the areas of potential is tourism. So many countries today, so many states solely rely on tourism to make their money, or to get the resources in which they run the country or the state, whichever is applicable. And so if we want to make sure that we don't solely depend on oil, then we must have to exploit other areas within that we have strength. And one of such areas is the tourist sector. And that's why we're trying to do what we can to see that we attract investors to see the potentials we have in terms of tourism.
What tourist attractions are here?
Now, for example, we have just talked about the pleasure park is a tourist attraction. Have you been to the tourist beach in Port Harcourt? You've not been there. If you go there, in fact, so many people have approached me, so many tourist investors have approached me that they want to take over that area. Have you been to Andon in Ikru Town? In fact, when CNN came and they went to that place, they said, oh my God, this is the tourism destination, is if we can get people. And so if you watch CNN on recent, you will see the advertorials going on in terms of tourists to have this kind of attention to say, this is an area we can invest. Those areas will, of course, enhance the revenue of the state in terms of taxes and the rest of it. So we're doing everything we can. And before we can achieve that, like you say, security is key. Security is key. When once you have given them the hope that, look, the security, we are well protected, people will come in. And that's why we're investing so much in terms of security. I don't know, let me not exaggerate, but I don't know any state that has so much committed funds in terms of security than this state. I don't know of such states. I am meant to be challenged. The security agencies can attest to that fact. You know.
We will know when we know the figures.
Well, it's not a question of doing figures alone. You can give out the fund, but again, the infrastructure, the facilities are there, the equipment are there. Just recently, I bought about 10 gunboats for the Navy. Just recently. Now, if you go out there, you see about 6 armored personnel carriers. Why I did not give it to the police then? It was a period of election. I didn't want them to use it against us, against the masses. So I said, no, I will not do that. Now that we have finished election, well, the CP said we're going to invite the IG to come and launch it. I've given to security agencies in this state at least not less than 150 vehicles for security operations.
Well, I think that the Lagos State government might have word on that one in terms of investment in security.
No, what I said, you have a partnership with private investors. Here in this state, no private investor can say that they have put funds with the state government in terms of the security.
Why are you not partnering with them?
No, not partnering with them. First of all, you start as a government. You see, you must give the investors hope. You must give them that confidence that you are serious in what you are doing. I said that will not make them to buy in. And as I speak to you, we have formed a committee on how we can set up a security trust fund. But before you get to that, you as a government whose responsibility it is to protect life and property must put something on ground. So you don't need to wait before the private companies come in. So you have to do something that the private companies or private individuals will not say, yes, I think we have confidence in this government that they are serious in what they are talking about. We can see what they are doing. So that's where we are now. So if we now begin to talk about Lagos State and North, with all due respect, we must have to face a reality. Part of what people do not understand today is that most of the facilities in Lagos or infrastructures in Lagos was the capital of Nigeria before. Lagos was the capital of Nigeria before. These facilities are there. Here we are just starting from nowhere.
So that is interesting, because when you say you start from nowhere and you have been bringing past leaders of the state to come and celebrate this 50th anniversary.
See the point I'm making. What we are saying is this. Look, you take for example today, if Abuja is a state tomorrow, a full state tomorrow, and Abuja is no longer the capital of Nigeria, and it moves to another state to say, okay, we are choosing state D to be the capital of Nigeria. Those facilities and infrastructures, the federal government, the road network that they have done in Abuja, you can't move it. So if Abuja as a state is starting up, they have things they can start up with that are basically there. And so that they move to the next state. Unlike what we are talking about, we are saying that, look, how many roads are federal government concerned in this state? What are the projects of the federal government in this state? Look at the international airport. So if we are talking about development, you know that you have an advantage that infrastructures have been built. All you are doing now is to capitalize on that and move to the next level.
We weren't talking about infrastructure, we were talking about security, and you were saying no other state in this country.
I do not think. I didn't say for certainty.
You do not
but
think.
I said with the information I have. And that's why I said to the point that when you mentioned Lagos, I said, look, Lagos is not only purely Lagos state. That, first of all, there's a private partnership. Companies have come together with them.
And we asked you why you're not doing that. Considering the huge IGR, you'll also be able to make from the companies here.
Now, let me make it clear. And that is part of the problems that we are having in the Niger Delta. Part of the IGR, they were supposed to be most of the companies who operate here, their headquarters in Lagos. Who do they pay their taxes to? That is part of the agitation in the Niger Delta. Now you deny us of the revenue we are supposed to make. You collect our oil and your headquarters somewhere.
They say security.
Well, what security? But the security to take the oil. There's security for you to take the oil, but there's no security for you to stay.
Is that politics?
No, of course you know that. So Nigerians, you see, that's why we are when you begin to compare part of the agitation in the Niger Delta, that certain things are not done to make sure that Niger Delta does not develop.
How has politics advanced in River State? Tell us.
In terms of national politics?
Would you like to talk about that?
No, if you say national politics, obviously they don't like River State. As far as this government is concerned, that is why they have done everything to cripple the state.
No, as a matter of fact, I think the government likes River State a lot.
Someone.
Because they say that perhaps you'll join the APC.
Why should I join APC for that of development in a state that produces the wealth of the nation?
So you are not going to move on?
Why should I do that?
Even with the challenges?
Even when Nigerians are disappointed with the APC?
No, you particularly have a lot of challenges.
Nigerians are disappointed. Why should I be there? I should be where Nigerians are. You are the ones who saw the APC to win the election in Nigeria. It is the media. Today, look at it. What can anybody show for it? All you see is witch hunting.
Your Excellency, the media were just doing their job. No, I don't know about selling
their job at that time.
Do
the same job now. Do the same job now.
Which is what they're
not doing anything. You're keeping quiet. And that's what Nigerians are saying that. You see, the point we're making is that the kind of things that happen in this country is very funny. I do know that when Jonathan was in power and he wanted to remove the oil subsidy, people came up with Occupy Nigeria. That Nigeria will come down if they try to remove oil subsidy.
Nigerians or the East?
It is the media carried the propaganda, the media led the war. It's true. Then the man even said, I'm not removing the full subsidy, it will be partial subsidy. He said no. Now a government came and removed the entire subsidy. Nigerian labor couldn't even be organized to say they were going to strike.
But the media reported what they saw.
What did they report?
At the time.
The media have not reported anything correct. Is that the truth of the matter?
Excellency, I hope that we're reporting you correctly now, and that your image is not being distorted as it's going out on air.
No. The point of this is a live program. So Nigerians are hearing it.
Yeah.
It's not a question of, you see, you must differentiate. Take, for example, Nigerians are watching this program. So even if you go and say different, they say, no, we'll watch it. That's a different thing. But what I'm saying live is different. The point we are making is that for Christ's sake, see what is happening in this country today. Look at the fight against corruption, which ordinarily everybody should support. That we are fighting against corruption, which is a counter one in our system. But look at the fight against targeted individuals.
Are they corrupt?
Why should you target an individual to be corrupt?
Is it the,
take, for example,
that's the question. Are they corrupt?
How do you know they're corrupt? It is only the court that will determine who's corrupt.
So how would we know they don't go before the court?
Somebody's corrupt. Let me tell you something. You know, I raised an alarm because I understand the system. I know when they plotted it.
Does the money belong to River State?
Of course. Nigeria will be stunned with what we are waiting. I think they say they have set up a committee. They are waiting for the report. Did they invite us? To who that we are laying claim? Have they invited us? What evidence do we have? Look at the kind of abracadabra happening in Nigeria.
Is it true that your grievances is not with the APC-led government, but an internal fight? Now that you have a situation where you and your colleague, your counterpart from Ekiti State, Mr. Ayodele Fayose, for instance, are fighting, having infightings, what's going to be the outcome of that?
Who's fighting with who?
You are in the same camp with Ayodele Fayose.
What camp is that?
Against Sheriff.
Oh, that is the mistake we're making. That somebody has his own view does not mean that you are the same camp with somebody. If two of us, maybe, luckily, we will hold the same view on an issue, does not mean that we're in one camp. We disagree on so many issues. We agree on so many issues. The issue of Sheriff, anybody who loves this country, anybody who loves PDP, who believes in PDP, cannot talk about Sheriff. For Christ's sake, go and see what's happening in most states that is being governed by APC. The states that we have the party structures, Sheriff and co, in order to make sure that the PDP does not participate in local government elections, try to go and sell out the party by writing to the state party, the state INEC, that no, we don't recognize those party structure. And to see, these are the things that very funny. A man who says he lost PDP, see what he has done in Jigawa State, see what he has done in Benue State, to make sure that the so-called party, the party he said he lost, does not win in that election. What kind of system are we running?